Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Wandering Artist Podcast. I'm Casey,
And I'm Steffi.
and we are going to be talking about week 2 of The Artist's Way.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of the central themes for week 2 were about um, kind of looking into your supports. One of the key words that was used was identity, and I know that it was a little bit different than I think either of us expected when it was about like exploring self identity.
Yeah.
Um, I think what I took away from it mostly was like knowing who in your life is supportive versus who isn't, and then also looking at the things that you enjoy doing and whether or not you actually do those things.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I'm curious what other things you took away from it.
Yeah. So I do want to start by saying we are currently in London. We did not do an episode on the ferry because I was too busy throwing up. So
Yeah, we both got nauseous after like half an hour,
yeah.
and we
Yeah,
were
we
on it
started
for 8
moving.
hours.
Yeah.
So
So 8 hours of trying, or for me vomiting, which I don't really do. Um and Casey was very close behind me but didn't. So good job, Casey. Round of applause.
we were
And
both struggling. It was
yeah.
not fun.
Yeah, but right now we're in a park with birds chirping. It's
Birds, there's a plane right now.
There's planes, there's people walking by.
A lot of
It's
ambient noises
Yeah.
for you all this week. So
So hopefully the plane isn't louder than we are. I did instruct us to keep the mics as close to our mouth as possible because of ambient sounds. And although our brains are saying that's got to be louder than I am, I know these mics pick up more than I think they do. Anyways, I just wanted to state that like we're in a cool little spot that's very, very tranquil, and there's a little, what would you call this, a creek, a, a, a,
a creek,
a
yeah,
creek.
a waterway.
Yes, there's a little waterway. It's very cute. But going back to your question, I just wanted to paint the scene a little. I feel like what I was expecting from this week was a deep dive into identity, self identity specifically, and how that gets curated or how that is affected, I guess, during this process, during this course. What we got instead was a little bit of a background, background, I guess, way to get to that answer. I expected a recipe for how to figure out who you are, and instead, I got an explanation of how to better relate to yourself. So she talked a lot about who in your life are you sharing this information with, and who are you letting in at this moment who may help or make things worse. She called them crazy makes. She called some of them crazy makers. Like what crazy makers are making it so you're giving all your energy to them as opposed to using it for yourself. And are you in like a codependent relationship with this crazy maker, which we both have experienced, maybe not codependency, but we've experienced crazy makers in our life who took for themselves and kind of left us without anything left for ourselves. Those people have since been removed from our life, which is nice.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that it was like intentional. It's just like
It's never
sometimes
intentional.
sometimes when you develop a dynamic with a person, even like when you start to change as a person, it's hard to like break out from the dynamic that you've established
Mm-hmm.
with the friendships that you have. And I think that that's something that we've both experienced. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I think that's perfectly said. Yeah. Something else that she talked about a lot that I took away from it was how your self doubt can lead to self sabotage, and how that plays a big role alongside the crazy makers because they might make you feel self doubt, and that in turn will lead to self sabotage because you say to yourself, I don't deserve this. Like, just because this thing's working for me right now doesn't mean it's going to work. I'm like, I'm already going to fail even if this one part worked. And that's just literally telling yourself and the universe, like, hey, don't put too much into this because I'm not going to, you know? I also like I took literal notes while we were listening, but just like little things she said, like exploring our feelings of doubt, like don't shove our feelings of doubt down, explore them to figure out where they come from and what they are, because that will in turn lead you to whose voice that might be, or what core negative belief you have about yourself. I don't think I'm gonna win against the wind.
You're not going to win against the
I'm
wind?
not going to win against the wind.
Oh, okay.
um but you know, that's like a big part of what we learned about last week was those core negative beliefs are like the thing that you've been using to put yourself down. So really looking into that more. That bird scared me. I like this one. We would focus our responsibility to others as opposed to responsibility to ourselves. Does that bring up anything for you?
Mm, it does a little bit, but I feel like that's something that you connect a lot more with than I do. I think that, I mean, we have both historically been people pleasers, but I do feel like the recovery from that is more recent for you than it has been for me.
I fully agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you've been recovering from it for a while I've only been recovering from being a people pleaser. Like I was even doing it in my job that I'm currently not in anymore, which is crazy. Yeah, we focus our responsibility to others as opposed to responsibility to ourselves. That when she said that when we were listening to the recording, that like hit me like a ton of bricks because I cared so much about other people's expectations of me and what they wanted from me and how I could please them so I could be loved. So now I'm turning that towards how to love and respect myself and what expectations I might have, like letting go of expectations entirely, to be honest, and enjoying the moment and trying to stay more present by letting go of any expectations. Um, which is very challenging. And I will say that alongside this, we read the Seven Spiritual Laws of Success
Hmm.
by,
Deepak Chopra.
yeah. So that goes along with like a lot that we read from that. This is a really
Yeah.
interesting week, a very spiritually awakening week, or just
Yeah.
like a kick in the ass week.
Yeah. Definitely has been a kick in the ass. And like, I know that this is more of a week 3 thing, but like we just listened to it. And one of the things that stuck out to me was her saying that, like, the growth and the changes that you're going to experience, like, it's not easy. And there's going to be like, um, phases that you go through where you're, um, like feeling a little bit more stuck, I guess. Like, I don't remember exactly how she phrased it, but she was
Mm-hmm.
saying, like, there's going to be like a phase where you're like are drawn towards action and you feel that burst, and then you're going to
Mm-hmm.
shift after that, shift into a phase where you're more like, um I don't know, or you're slower, I guess. I don't know, I don't remember how she said it, but it really stuck out to me because I guess that's how I've been feeling this week. Um like last week, I when I was writing morning pages, I had like this really amazing idea that like lit me up, and I told you all about it. um, and I felt like, really inspired.
Mm-hmm.
Versus this week, like writing the morning pages has been a struggle, and it's been feeling, not that it's pointless, but it's been feeling, um, like there's no sustenance to what I'm writing.
Really.
And getting like the full 3 pages has also been a challenge because it
Mm-hmm.
just doesn't feel like I'm pulling anything out. Um, but I do it anyway.
I was gonna say that's also like a lot of pressure to put on yourself to always have something. Like that's part of this is not always having words to say. Like as you were just saying, it's all about like it's cycles. It's cycles of having that motivation versus having dedication that you use instead versus having like I like we got off the ferry and we were pretty prepared to do a podcast in bed with sunglasses on because we were hungover from the ferry. We didn't drink. We just were hungover from how exhausting and intense that was
It
for our
was, yeah.
bodies.
I mean, and
And we're
like
still recovering.
after the ferry, we still had like 5 hours of travel to get to where we were going. And once we finally stopped moving, like I still felt like I was on the ferry,
Mm-hmm.
and that was not fun.
No, but what we were able to do was the day after we got to do a lot of like self nurturing and like letting ourselves rest a little bit, and then took ourselves on a date yesterday where I guess I took you on a date more so, but you knew what
Hmm.
was happening. It wasn't any surprises, but we wandered around. We walked like 12 miles. So that was the part of I liked, but we went and
Hmm.
explored London a little bit and that was super fun. And I'm looking at this because I'm trying to like keep within the notes that we that I took for week 2, so we don't go too far on a tangent.
Hmm.
Um, and I brought up self nurturing. I brought that up because in the chapter or week 2, she expresses that self nurturing leads to creativity, and the great creator, or what I call the universe, has gifted us with creativity, and that our gift back is to use it. So like in that cycle there of self-nurturing leading to creativity, which is like already been gifted to us, and it's like a reward system of like when you take care of yourself the universe gives back. And I'm not going to get into week 3, but there's a lot of like there's some key lines there, so remember that. But like if you give to yourself and listen to the universe and trust it, you will um be given what you're looking for. And what week 2 she talked about a lot was setting aside skepticism when those things do come to us. Like when things do happen, instead of taking it in, we get scared and say, wait, I don't want this responsibility. I don't want this.
Hmm.
She talks about that in week 3 too. But
Yeah, she
like,
talks about that a lot in week
yeah,
3.
but week 2 she mentions it, and that like really hit me because there's been so many times where I start something and then right before it can get serious, I'm like, no, 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 I don't want this responsibility. And it's not that I don't
Hmm.
want the responsibility. It's that I usually am too busy to give it the energy and time that I really want to give it. Yeah.
Hmm.
Like I want to be able to give things energy and time. And I'm thinking of specifically of when I started the elopement business. Like you were alongside me for that, and that was really helpful for me to stay motivated and stay like inspired.
Hmm.
And then because of circumstances, we ended up leaving, so I couldn't continue that. But at the same time, a part of me is like, well, I could have continued doing X, Y, and Z, but the universe kind of pointed me in another direction. And what I would have done in the past is shit on myself for saying and say to myself, like, why did you get so far and then not do anything? When now I'm trying to take it as like, okay, because it didn't have like 100% of my energy and love and dedication and pride and like all of these things that I'd like to feel. That's why the universe was like, you're going to do this thing instead. And so now
Hmm.
I'm on this path of like trying to be more present, which is brought up a lot in week 2, is like presence and paying attention to the moment. And she brought up a story with her grandmother,
Hmm.
who, no matter what was going on in her life, she stayed present in the moment. And that was really beautiful. Um, and that also comes back to the book we were reading on top of
Hmm.
this about being in the moment,
Yeah, a lot of pure potentiality.
which has a lot to do with staying present.
Yeah.
Say more.
Um. Yeah. I mean, I feel like we both know this, but this is something that I always come back to, of like how like transformative having a meditation practice is, and connecting it to like the artist's way. One of the assignments for the week is like um writing down changes, like small to big, that you want to have, and then start doing one of those things.
Mm-hmm.
And because of the timing of it, and we were about to enter into September,
Mm-hmm.
and because September has 30 days, I thought that it would be really cool to just have our own little meditation challenge. Like after we write our morning pages, each day we add on a minute of meditation.
Mm-hmm.
So since today's the third, for example, we did 3 minutes of meditation, and we'll do that all the way up to 30. And
Mm-hmm.
then I think my hope and intention is to continue. By that point, it will be a habit that we've established, and like to continue meditating for 30 minutes a day.
Yeah.
Um, which like feels like a lot right now just because I know that we both struggle with being able to um have that kind of presence for that long.
Hmm.
Um, but that's why I think building up to it will be really nice.
Yeah.
Um,
Like even the difference between yesterday, 2 minutes felt like forever, and today, 3 minutes felt like it was just a snap. It
mhm.
literally was night and day.
Can I tell you a secret?
Yeah.
I forgot to set the timer when we did the 2 minutes. And I was like, this is taking a while. I opened my eyes and it hadn't started. So I set a 5 second time. So it probably was more than two
It was
minutes.
definitely more than 2 minutes. It was 100% more than 2 minutes. And I feel way less crazy now. Why didn't you just tell me that at first? You wanted to
I don't
see my
know.
reaction on live, on not live
I mean,
YouTube?
I thought it would be funny to tell you that right now, but I also just like
That's
I felt a
funny.
little bad because I hadn't set the timer, and I could feel at a certain point we both were like,
What the
okay,
fuck is happening? No, I was curious if I thought you hadn't said it. To be honest, I was like, "There's no way. Maybe they just didn't set it, or maybe something else happened." Because
yeah,
I could sense rustling.
oops,
Regardless, do you want to get into? So this week there was a ton of options, and we did a lot of them.
mm-hmm,
So one of the things that we decided to do was the life pie, where you draw a circle and you separate it into, I think it's like 8 categories, and within those categories you mark how satisfied you are within those categories. I had a very tough time with this at first. I've done life pies before and I've always struggled with satisfaction and like registering that. And I'm not going to get into that because it's just like a long story that I don't think makes a ton of sense to anybody but myself. But the first time I did it, I put in like time and energy. How much time and energy am I putting into these things, good or bad? And Casey looked at it and was like, that doesn't look right because you're not satisfied with your job. Um, and that's correct. So I did it again, and I know that for me, there's a lot of room for improvement with like what I'm satisfied with and what I want to work on, and where I see things I need to grow, see things I want to, yeah, I want to spend more time in,
mm-hmm,
places I could be more satisfied in.
yeah,
It's hard for me to talk about that. The word satisfied has been a very like
yeah,
yes no for me.
yeah. I mean, the
Hmm.
word in the book that's used is fulfillment. Like, how fulfilled do you feel?
Yeah,
Um,
same thing with that word too for me, in all honesty.
yeah, I think the thing that I took away from that, like after I made my little pie, it made me sad. Um, just because like if you were to ask me point blank, like if I feel fulfilled in different areas of my life, or just generally if I feel fulfilled in my life, I'd say that I do. But when you break it down into like, you know, work life and friends and spirituality, like I
Hmm.
realized that like all of these areas have um, room for improvement.
Hmm.
And this is this was one of those assignments that like I felt very averse to.
Hmm.
Um, so I did it, but you know, I knew that I was averse to it because like I have a lot of feelings, like it's still kind of a sensitive subject for me in the realm of friendships, and that's something that I've been struggling with because there have been some like falling outs in our lives, and yeah, it's just a hard thing, you know, and like a lot of this week was centered around like who's your support versus who's not your support. And I do feel like my circle of support is quite small. And there isn't really a lot that can be done about that in this moment, other
Also, that's not
than,
inherently a bad thing.
yeah,
Like that can be a good thing. That it doesn't have to be big.
yeah, no, and I'm not necessarily saying it's a bad thing. I'm just having to like accept
Mm.
it, you know, accept it for what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I kind of want to go back to the 10 tiny changes assignment. I wanted to hear if you had picked one to make a goal for yourself.
10 tiny changes I'd like to make. Actually, no, I have done quite a few of these. One of mine was I would like to take a step away from social media. I, as of today, undownloaded TikTok and Instagram and basically made it so on all my social media platforms that I am kind of incognito. I changed it so you could not really find me easily because I suddenly had this like huge change of perspective on like what I want from social media. And that was mostly just not knowing what I want. So I'm just gonna like disappear for a minute. Um,
There's a bug
a bug? Oh,
flying into the lens. Hi,
hi.
bug.
Well, if you guys see a bug, I don't know which lens it's looking at right now, but there's a chance you just saw a bug. I think that'd be fucking funny, to be honest
Yeah,
with you. I'm just
they're
let it be,
they're very
whatever.
attracted to the lens. That's funny.
Anyways, I have quite a few in here. Um, I think that like one of the other ones, I'd like to trust the universe more. And all of the 10 tiny changes are phrased as I would like to blank. Or I would like blank. But, yeah, I don't know. Most of mine are related to just like trying to settle and be more present and in one way or another. So, yeah. Do you
Hmm.
want to talk more about your 10?
Um, I don't have them on hand.
That's okay.
But I think the meditation was the one that I wanted to talk about the most
Yeah.
because I was really excited that like my own brain had come up with the idea of doing like a 30-day challenge for the month of September,
Yeah.
and like we're able to easily habit stack that like right after we
Mm-hmm.
do morning pages.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like one of the things so far that I've gained so much from doing this course is that habit stacking has been really easy. Like, first it was the morning pages. Another one of the assignments this week that we can talk about soon is like after you write the morning pages, you write down your affirmations
Mm-hmm.
that you've selected slash created
Mm-hmm.
and write them 5 times each.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, um, doing our little meditation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We love habit stacking. Lots of wind. I know that some people, like when we listen to skinny dipping, she associates the wind with like confirmation of stuff. I don't think I'm not tapped into it yet. Also, it's just windy.
The other assignment we can talk about is writing the affirmations. I'm really curious to hear how you felt about doing that.
Writing affirmations.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the assignment was to write 3 affirmations 5 times each, right?
Yes.
I did
Although
that.
I didn't realize it was 3 chosen affirmations. I definitely had 7. Um,
That's fine.
but yeah.
I don't think that's a problem. I did it. I didn't continue to do it into week 3 so far because although I know it's helpful, what's more helpful for me is like kind of manifesting it, if that makes sense. Like there's a language that my brain taps into better that's more like Delulu, I guess, that works better than like repeating the same thing because I lose track of things really easily. So I would tend to like write down the first word or the first letter of the word so I could like keep track. Because I got more anxious and more distracted by knowing I had to write it down a certain amount of times and how much pain that was causing my hand than like actually appreciating what was being said,
Mm,
you know? So I did it for a week, for the rest of week 2, but I didn't continue it into week 3. Instead, expressing like I feel this way about myself. I know that these things are true. And then like writing the affirmations within like a paragraph and then rereading that like 3 times. Um,
interesting.
so that's what I ended up doing because it like I did that for starting week 3. I did the assignments the whole time for week 2.
I think I had a similar experience. I mean, I wasn't anxious about writing them, but it was like it was it just felt like work, and it was harder for me to connect with what I was trying to affirm in myself
Exactly.
because of
Yes.
how long it was taking to write everything. That being said, I also had 7 affirmations
Did
that
you
I
write
was
them all
writing
down 3 times?
5 times each. Yeah.
You wrote them down 5 times?
Yeah,
Oh,
that's what
that's
the
the correct.
assignment
That's correct.
was.
That's correct. You're right. You're right. That's fucked. That's fucked.
But yeah, it was a lot of writing.
No wonder.
But I did like that, because I'm using my iPad, and so it's not like I am writing 3 pages, but it's in notes, so I kind of have to decide what's 3 pages and what's not. But the thing I like about using the iPad is I have like a widget that I put on the home screen that I customized myself and has all of the affirmations that I want to look back on.
That's nice.
Um, and I really like that because using my iPad has become like my creative space. Like everything about it is just like an invitation to create or to feel inspired.
I love that.
Like, I use it for creative things or for reading, which is its own creative thing in a way.
Hmm.
Um, so it's nice that every time I open it, I can look at that as well.
Yeah. That's nice.
But yeah, I think I still want to write down affirmations at the end of morning pages, but I'm not going to do as much. I think I'm probably going to write them like 3 times if I do write an affirmation, and I probably would only select like a few of them to write, like whatever's I feel like would resonate the most with me
Yeah.
that morning.
Yeah.
Um, because yeah, doing the whole thing was very
Doing your own whole thing, mind you.
my own whole thing was very laborious, but
Yeah, that's really fair. I did not realize you were doing that. I would have stopped you.
it's fine.
Do you want to talk about the 20 things I enjoy and the 5 more imaginary lives?
Yeah, we can talk about the 20 things.
Yeah, I know you don't have your list in front of you.
I
We
know
can
I
talk
don't
about our experience.
yeah, I don't have my list, but I know that everything I wrote down, I felt pretty happy that like none of the things I had written down had been like neglected for too long. Like
Mm-hmm.
most of the things were I haven't done because I've I've been traveling and we've been traveling.
Mm-hmm.
So like I haven't been able to do cooking. I mean, I have been cooking, but like
It's not the same.
not to the same degree that I enjoy making
Mm-hmm.
dishes, and same with baking and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Um and doing lira, like those things are just not really possible right now.
Mm-hmm.
Um so that was nice. I think one of the things I did write down that I enjoy is painting, and I haven't done painting like on the scale that I enjoy doing it. I haven't done that in a few years. Um, but my argument for that is that I haven't really had the like space really to do it. Like where we were living wasn't really like necessarily a doable location to have like gigantic paintings and making a mess.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, it's not like I will never go back to it.
It's just been a minute because
Yeah.
of opportunity.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's super fair.
Yeah.
Did you have overall when you were writing that list? Actually, no, you already said you enjoyed it and it made you feel good.
Yeah. It made me feel good about knowing that I do generally overall do the things that I enjoy
Mm-hmm.
frequently.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
would say I had a pretty similar experience. I highlighted things that I hadn't done in a while, and even then, the ones that are like actually that have actually been a long time are very situational, like rowing, for example. That's not something I've done in a very long time, like 4 or 5 years, because it costs a lot of money to be on a rowing team. It costs a lot of money to rent a single or a shell and like actually go rowing. Like there's just a lot behind that that's not as accessible as I guess like one might think. I mean, it's accessible, but like you got to really commit to it and especially commit to the club and money and the whole thing. The other thing I wrote was preparing a matcha latte correctly. So that includes steaming milk.
Mm.
And I haven't had access to a milk steamer since I worked as a barista in a tea shop. So that's also something where just funny enough, it's been a while, but it's very situational and circumstantial.
Mm-hmm.
So that wasn't it. So I'm like, yeah, I did have a really strong reaction to this though. I think at the time I was about to end my job, which I do care very deeply about, and I was really trying to reflect on how I felt in the past and realized how much I hadn't been in the present, and I was had been so future oriented. This ties into us talking about being present and how this chapter brought that up, and how this future oriented thinking is anxiety in itself, basically. And that was very obvious to me and caused a very large emotional reaction, um, because it was just, when you kind of have the wake up call of like, oh, I haven't been present for a fat minute. And like I can be present in little moments, but I had been so future oriented and future thinking because I always had something that needed to be done. It was very eye opening, and something that the other book that we're reading or finished reading, um, had mentioned. It was I think it was the sixth law. No, it was the fifth law of the path of least effort, which is a bit of a tongue twister for me, but that was really like that's the phrasing that I needed to really shift my perspective into being present. And like you've seen me do this now multiple times where I say path of least resistance because it's easier for me to say despite me still fumbling over it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and how that just like really tries to keep me present because I can't control the future, and I can't, that feels like affirming wind. I can't control the future, and I can't um, do anything outside of the moment we're in. So what's the point of like forcing myself into this anxiety, which is like so much easier said than done, and it's taken a really long time to really feel that. But
Mm-hmm.
this week was the week that I did finally feel it, and it caused a lot of like disruption in my own perspective of self.
Mm.
Shocker. It's almost like when you're present in the moment, you have a good support system, and you do the things that make you happy and that you love, that you find out who you are. It's almost like the whole point of the chapter. Crazy.
Yeah. I mean, I agree that I think that like from that book that definitely stuck with you a lot, and I feel
Mm-hmm.
like I noticed that in action. Like perfect example was when we got off of the ferry and we were trying to get to our train, and we thought we might miss it, and like it was a really huge difference to what I'm used to with you.
Do you want to say more?
Like, I mean, we've been in similar situations before where you are just completely consumed by anxiety, and trying to communicate with you is challenging because I can tell that you are just so deeply in that world. Um, but I was like pretty surprised by how you were acting when we were trying to get to our train. It was very calm, and um, I could tell that you were definitely implementing that. And yeah, it was just really nice to see that. Um, because I also, it made me feel less anxious as well. I mean, I'd say generally in those situations I'm a lot less anxious than you are,
Mm-hmm.
but if you're anxious, I can't help but also feel a little bit anxious.
Mm-hmm.
But because you were very much in that space of like, we literally cannot control this, so whatever is going to happen will happen. I thought it was really nice.
I'm so glad. Anyways, um, the last thing that I did was the five more imaginary lives. And this time I knew what I wanted from it because Casey did such a good job last time. So I was like, I know exactly how I want to do this. And I think that the lives that I thought of this time, I resonate more with outside of like the first one that I wrote the first time. So I was more invited to this one. This was the one I was the most excited to do
Mm.
this time, while the life pie was my least excited. We also did a lot of assignments this week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about yours at all, or should we just kind of
The extra lives.
Mhm.
I feel like we flipped a little bit because after I had written those first 5 lives, like, it was a bit more of a challenge to come up with 5 more lives. But I don't know. I'd say like I did that assignment. I didn't necessarily connect with it as much as I did the last time.
Mhm.
One of the lives that I had written that I definitely feel in part of my soul, but I also just find hilarious is that I wrote down like solitary poet.
Say more.
Like I don't know, something about like almost like Edgar Allan Poe vibes, like just like this mysterious figure that's like, you know, isolated and alone and has all of these like thoughts and writes them into like interesting poetry, and like nobody really knows much about them. Like, I don't know. I think there is a part of me that feels that maybe I was a solitary poet in a past life. But
Yeah.
I just thought that was a funny one. I have written poetry in the past, and sometimes I can get into it.
Mm-hmm.
That was actually my plan for when we were on the ferry, because I know we had thought like let's figure out an artist date for ourselves while we're on the ferry. That got totally fucked. Um, but my plan was, okay, we're on here for 8 hours. I'm gonna write a little poem each hour about like what we're doing or
Mm.
what I see and stuff. I was really excited to do it. And then we got fucked by the wind, and getting super, super nauseous.
Our own fault for not bringing medication. Didn't think we'd need
I
it.
mean, we didn't know.
Yeah.
I genuinely didn't think that that would be an issue.
This time I wrote, well, first thing, I'm sorry that you weren't able to do your poetry the way you wanted to. That's very frustrating.
It's okay.
It happens, but there was no bug. You're good. Um, but I wrote down, I'm going to read mine this time because I was very excited that I like actually did it this time, and I was like, I want to share this. I'm really pumped. Um, the first thing I wrote was being a yoga teacher in like Hawaii or in Bali or in some like tropical place. So being a yoga teacher, surfing, doing Reiki, and then like running a trash pickup group, and whoever like joined the trash pickup group in the on the beach in the morning would come have yoga for free or whatever. And like I just felt like that was really cute and I loved that. Um and then just having like a side Reiki practice. Like, loved that little life. Another one I wrote was being an occupational therapist or like a biomedical researcher, which is a path I almost went down, but it would be like in this little life, I'd be like working with people who have prosthetics or who need support with like functioning in society and functioning in their homes and like regulating themselves. There's so many different things an occupational therapist can do, and same thing with biomedical engineers, but prosthetics is the thing I thought of because I got a degree in kinesiology and I just love that science. It's so cool to me. Another one I had was being a graphic designer and like being in a van, like van life graphic designer,
Mm.
where like I just travel around the anywhere and I
Mm-hmm.
do graphic design for whoever.
Like freelance, yeah.
Yeah, like freelance work exactly. And then I had one which was open an apothecary slash flower shop slash tea shop. And it'd be very cozy and it'd have plants everywhere, very similar to the vibe you were talking about, but more
Mm-hmm.
focused on like herbs that I grew myself and like local flowers and locally sourced things, and then tea that I sourced myself from China and Japan and Taiwan and whatnot. And the last one I wrote was a model for a sustainable, queer conscious BIPOC brand, or just like any of those things in tandem, and traveling around the world with like that being my career is like I work with sustainable brands only as a model, which would just that'd be super cool. I know you get that,
Mm-hmm.
but
I do
those
get
were
that.
I was very excited about those. So thank you for letting me share them.
Yeah. One of the lives I wrote down was model as well.
Mhm.
But because I wasn't as connected to it, I didn't paint a story in the same way. But I would definitely
Mhm.
also like, I would want to be a model for a queer company.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah. Well, those are the assignments. Now we get to talk about morning pages and our artist state.
Hmm.
Do you want to start with morning pages?
Yeah, I feel like I already shared a bit about how I felt about
Hmm.
them this week, so I'm curious
Yeah.
how it was for you.
This week, I feel like my morning pages were kind of a mix between being a diary for how I was feeling, because I was feeling a lot of emotions and like very strong emotions, especially with my job ending and the stress that I was experiencing with that. And a lot of the morning pages that I wrote were related to what we had been reading and trying to like apply that in some way, as well as how to apply that to like um
Reading from the seven spiritual laws of success. Okay.
yeah, seven spiritual laws of success. And from this week,
Hmm.
um I was just really trying to write about those and how I can apply them, as well as actively applying them, specifically painting a picture. So I would usually, this week actually, I did morning pages differently. I did them first thing when I woke up, and I feel like that made a difference. I think that
Do you
I
feel like
was
it was better?
yes, I think it was better. I think the first few days was kind of weird, but after that, I noticed that if I went on my phone first instead of going to the book first, it was like a pretty drastic difference in how I felt. But yeah, I think it was really helpful to do it first thing, and I'm hoping it meant that I could get my feelings and whatever was on my mind out so you didn't have to face it when you wake up.
Yeah, I think something I want to be better at is writing morning pages right when I wake up. Um, I guess there's just some mornings where I wake up and I genuinely don't feel like a human for at least 20 minutes, maybe more. And but I want to like be awake, so I need to do something that's not writing what I'm thinking about because my brain is not creating thoughts.
I don't understand that at all. I wake up
Yeah.
and I'm immediately thinking, and I know that's just one of our differences. It's
Yeah.
very funny to me that you experience that.
Yeah, no. I mean, it's just like how you ask me what I'm thinking about, and it's literally just
Nothing.
Kelly Clarkson playing in the background
I
and
literally don't
nothing
understand that.
else.
But that's also a difference of anxiety. Like, you don't have anxiety in the way that I do. I know you've had it before, but it's just
Yeah.
different.
I mean, I can be anxious, but
Of course.
it's situational.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that doing them first thing in the morning when we have the opportunity to do that is what's best for both of us.
Mm-hmm.
I think I was encouraging you to do them when you wake up because there has been a pattern of you waking up before me.
Mm-hmm.
And then you tend to go on social media or do other little projects waiting for
Mm-hmm.
me, and then you do your morning pages.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where that stemmed from.
Yeah, absolutely. I know it did.
Yeah.
And I think that it was helpful to like do morning pages right when I wake up. Like, it's like I wake up, I turn over, I grab my book.
Hmm.
And if I don't do that, I wake up, I turn over, I look at it and go back to sleep, and then I do it again and actually wake up.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I think that this week was definitely eye opening, and I tried to paint pictures a lot. And because I would wake up earlier than you, I would look at the sunrise sometimes and I'd like try to describe it. It was overall really nice. I think this week there was a lot of stuff going on. Um, and that's not a bad thing. It was just trying to be more present
Hmm.
and connecting to the content, which I think I did a good job of.
Yeah,
Hmm.
that's good.
Hmm.
Do we want to talk about our artist dates?
Yeah, let's talk about our artist dates. Do you want me to go first? Or do you want to go first? Because I don't actually know what your artist date you're counting as.
I'm counting the going to the craft store
Okay.
yesterday.
Okay.
Yeah, because the original plan, as I've said,
No, the
got cut.
original plan was that we would go to the beach and we'd pile rocks.
Hmm.
The OG plan, but then there was too much rain.
Hmm.
But then the secondary plan was going to the ferry and writing. That's such a good idea. You never mentioned that to me.
Yeah, because by the time I had written and figured that out, you were already feeling sick. So I knew that you were in a different realm of existence.
Had I already thrown up?
No.
Oh, so it was when we were okay.
Yeah.
I was figuring out our timeline
Yeah.
before, after throw up.
Yeah.
Hope that doesn't trigger anybody. Sorry.
It's fine. But yeah, so even though it wasn't like, I don't know, the artist date, it wasn't like, I guess, as big of a thing as I had anticipated or wanted, and like we didn't find what I wanted to get when we went. but I still feel like I took away a lot from it because of that book I found. Um,
Talk more about the book.
like I've been really into sketching, and it's something that I want to do more. And I especially like sketching landscapes. And one of the things that I've always had a hard time with specifically is how to sketch water. And I never really looked into like resources for it. I've reminded myself a few times, like, oh, I should look up, how other people do this, or like, a little tutorial or demonstration somewhere. But like one of the first things when we walked into the store was this book about like sketching with pen and techniques for it. And it was really cool. I definitely would have bought it if we weren't traveling in the way that we are. But I took a picture of it so I know what it is. And I did take a picture of one of the pages that had an example,
Mm-hmm.
because it talks about like basically assigning values to different items, and those values are like how light or dark a certain thing will be.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
That
and
was super cool. I
yeah,
loved seeing that.
yeah, and like
It was of an
um,
onion.
yeah, and so because of that, I say I took a lot away from the little art estate because um, it reminded me like how much I want to do that, and that's also something that I've considered. Um, I don't want to like bombard myself with doing too many challenges at once, but like one of the thoughts I had was like sketching one thing each day as a
Mm-hmm.
challenge. Um,
Maybe we can do that for October.
yeah, that could be cool.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, I really liked it, and I kind of want to see. Oh fuck, it's raining.
It's fine. It's fine. Just keep going. We're covered enough. We'll wrap it up soon.
Yeah. Um,
Hopefully, we're louder. I think we are.
yeah.
If you can hear that, it's rain.
It's raining. Anyway, I want to see if there's like. I don't think that the book would be on the little library app that I have, but if it was, that would be really cool.
You never know.
Um, but yeah, it like brought back more excitement that I have about doing that kind of sketching, and I definitely want to do it more. And I know that I want to be able to do it enough to not only improve but like understand more of what my personal style is with that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm also like taking the shame away from like needing like external help with that. I don't necessarily feel like I need the help, but like learning the different techniques, like different ways of shading and like understanding values and how you look at an object, it
Mm-hmm.
really is helpful.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Absolutely.
so
Yeah.
I'm not allowing myself to feel bad about
Period.
wanting to have a little tutorial book about it.
Period. Also, I want to just note on that like something that we need to take away from this past week and this coming week is like recognizing when we have shame around something and like looking at that and saying, no, no, we don't need to have shame about this thing. This is normal. This is okay. And we are worthy of having our needs met in whatever way, even if win confirmation, even if that is, you know, a little uncomfortable and just like having more value for ourselves. And also, on top of all of that, societal expectations and just like doing what we want because we want to and how we want to. And I'll talk more about that in week 3.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways,
But yeah, I want to hear about your artist date experience.
yeah, I'm trying to get away from the wind. My artist date experience was not what I was expecting to do, but I had a lot of ideas of what I wanted to do, and then ended up doing the one that was like the easiest at the time, which was sketching little like tattoo ideas for of our cats. And I basically had the idea of like smooth black Obi and fluffy stripy spiky Momo. And so I did like a few different sketch ideas. I think like 3 of them I'd consider, and one of them is like a work in progress. And then started getting sick, so I just drew cat eyes, which having drawn a lot of manga characters growing up, and that was like how I learned how to draw. Cat eyes and manga eyes are identical. They are the
Really?
exact same. I did
Hmm.
not know that. They feel the exact same, and I later found a tweet or something saying like manga characters are designed after cats, and like almost all of them you can turn into a cat because cats are so cute. That's why they all look like that because they're designed to look more like cats than people. So they don't look
That's
like
so
people.
interesting. I
So
didn't know that.
apparently that's a thing. I didn't really know that, but
That's
it
funny.
makes sense after what I was like drawing. And I was like, this is exactly for anyone who knows Edward Elric from Full Metal Alchemist. His eyes are drawn exactly like my cat's, and it's crazy. It was very weird. But yeah, that was my artist date. It was like 20 minutes of me doodling basically, which was fun. And then I started getting really sick. So although I learned something, it didn't take away as much as I was hoping, and that's not a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing. Artist
Mm-mm.
date doesn't have to be this like big mega thing, which I
No.
also had to remind myself of.
Yes.
Um,
It can be as little as going into a record store and seeing 3 covers that you like or something.
mm-hmm.
Or going for a walk and keeping an eye out for like cool ducks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like we talked about this a little bit throughout the week, but like part of what we're doing too does feel like inner child work. Like the
Mm-hmm.
inner artist and the inner child kind of go hand in hand. And I
Absolutely.
feel like that's kind of expanded what we think of when we consider what we want to do for artist dates.
Absolutely.
Um,
I think that's awesome too.
like I still really I want a coloring book. So
We should have picked you up a coloring book when we were
I looked
there.
for one. I didn't see one that was small enough for exactly what I wanted.
Okay, that's
But
fair. Fair. Regardless, it'd be cool if there was a watercolor coloring book.
mm,
That would be particularly cool. And if those don't exist, maybe they will one day. Maybe we'll be the creators of that.
I mean there's like paint by number, but
That's
that's a
not
little
the
different.
same. Regardless, yeah, it was a good week. I feel like we learned a lot and we're gaining a lot. And um, I'm excited for week 3. We've already listened to it, and I'm very excited about it because there's a lot in it that I know that I need to take away from. And having read the 7 spiritual laws of success, like there's a lot of intermingling, and I'm so excited to talk more about that next week.
Mm-hmm.
Any last things you want to say?
Um, not really. I guess the only other thing I can think of is like a lot of what we're doing and implementing. I feel like this next part of our travels is really gonna help shift our perspective as well,
Mm-hmm.
because like the entire time that we've been here being like the UK, you've been working,
Mm-hmm.
and like even though we left where we were staying, like we're still kind of in the same area. And I
Mm-hmm.
feel like because we're about to go somewhere completely different and new, it's going to be even more of an opportunity for us to like continue with like the habits that we've developed and to work on implementing the perspectives that we've gained from the artist's way and from the other book that we read.
Mm-hmm.
um and
Yeah.
it just makes me really excited because I know that what we're doing is like it feels special and unique for
Mm-hmm.
that reason.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really excited. It'll be a nice shift, a nice change and a nice shift. But I guess you guys will have to find out next time. It literally rained as I said that. Does that mean I shouldn't have done that? I don't understand the universe's science yet. We're practicing. We're
What are
working on it.
what are the chances that this podcast is kind of trash in the background because of our
Decent.
setting?
Decent. There is a
Sorry about
chance.
that.
It's fine. I don't
Thanks
care.
for bearing with us.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching if you're watching it. Um, know that you are valid and valued no matter what, and we love you very much, and you are loved. The universe is looking out for you. Just keep your eyes open. Keep listening. Keep sticking to your gut and trust that
Mhm.
everything will work out because it will, and you're going to be okay.
In the words of Julia Cameron, leap and the net will appear.
Period. Anyways, love you so much. We'll see you in the next one.
Bye.
Bye.